What's up, guys? I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're Drivin and Vibin.
Today we are hanging out with John and Peter of the RV Geeks, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We have been hanging out here in Fairhope with the RV Geeks, getting to know them, having a lot of fun, and we wanted to give you guys the opportunity to get to know them better too.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for being here with us today.
Well, thanks so much for having us, for coming over and inviting us to come down here to Fairhope and see what's happening with the Argosy.
Heck yeah, we're glad you got to check it out in person.
Yeah, and they just did a tour of our rig the other day. That will be coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that at their channel, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done that already. I don't know who isn't subscribed to their channel, but if you aren't, do that.
If you don't know, John and Peter have been on the road for 12 years?
Almost 16.
16
I thought it was more than that.
That is so long. Yes. I want to know if you have memories of the good old days of RVing before so many people hit the road.
Well, you know, it's funny. I don't think I look at it like that. Yeah. There are more friends out here now. We're happy to have people come out.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward. I miss the old days when we didn't have to work, when we were still living off savings,
and when we were 16 years younger. Yeah, those were good too. But yeah, there's definitely more activity. There's more traffic in the RV park, so there are times when it is a lot harder to get a space. So yeah, you get a little nostalgic for the days when it wasn't quite so crowded. But I don't know that it's as dramatic as it seems, you know, in the news.
I bet starting out then it was a lot more difficult in some ways, like staying connected and like, you know, on the road. Like we have all these boosters and internet options and stuff. Like, well, what were those days?
There was no purpose in having a booster. The iPhone was still 3 or 4 years from being invented when we started RVing. So that was difficult. And if not for the fact that we weren't working on our first 3 or 4 years on the road, it would have been a problem.
Yeah.
We had a data storm internet satellite dish in the beginning.
All right.
Well, actually, even before we had that, we just had our laptop, and we would, you know, it was before the days when everybody's router came pre-installed with security enabled, so everybody's Wi-Fi was open. So we would just sort of drive through neighborhoods really quietly and look for the spot where you could get online, check and see. And we've had a couple of instances where, you know, like there's the knock on the window because you're sitting sort of like a creeper for too long.
Yeah,
so I don't really miss that at all. I'm much happier having our own cellular data. But
yeah, that's such a memorable event. I remember the cop who knocked on the window in Tillamook, Oregon.
Yes. Oh my word!
And said, "You guys belong here." And we're like,
which kudos to the neighborhood watch in Tillamook. They are really on the ball.
But, yeah, that was in the Bounder. So our first rig was a 2002 Fleetwood Bounder diesel, and we didn't have any connectivity on that other than one laptop and trying to pick up open Wi-Fi. And then 2 years in, we got this rig, and that we put the satellite dish on the roof, and that made a difference. But then cell data took over and changed everything.
There's still a part of me that misses the Motosat dish a little bit, because we were off in some incredibly remote spots where you could just aim the dish and it would sort of peek right past a tree and you'd get online, and that moment was just like, woohoo! We're online way out here!
And you could go incredibly remote places. Cell towers didn't matter. They were up there, but it didn't make any difference. And we went to places that were so remote that you still to this day couldn't go and get cellular signal even with a powerful booster.
Yes.
And we a little bit miss that.
Yeah, I don't miss the other aspects of it.
It's a lot faster now.
Yeah, that's
LTE is much faster.
I'm a little curious about the community on the road then. Did you struggle finding community then? Did you find people that understood what you were doing and why? Or were you just enjoying being out there on your own and kind of having that time to yourself to enjoy?
We told everybody we were retired. And at the time, you know, I was in my mid-40s, John was in his mid-30s. We were, you know, which now people know how old we are.
Yeah, right.
But there weren't younger people like yourselves on the road very much. There was not that community at all.
It was certainly weekend warriors. There were a lot more young families, obviously, who were out doing, you know, shorter trips, but not full-timers as much at the time.
Mostly retirees. And when we would come in and people would see that we obviously weren't really old enough to be retired, and we would tell them we were, they'd be like, they'd think we inherited, you know, money or something.
Really rich.
Yeah, the look changed very suddenly.
But now I think it's so much more common, and even though we aren't nearly in the older age group that's out here still, people in their 70s and 80s, we're not nearly in that category yet, thankfully. But people in your age group, people in their 20s and 30s and 40s with families, single couples. They're everywhere, and most of our friends are younger because we do the same things they do. We hike and the activities.
Yeah, cool. I want to switch gears real quick if we can to YouTube. You obviously have a huge YouTube channel. What the heck, 7 or 8 years ago, got you started on YouTube? I mean, that was before YouTube was even as big as it is today. So
it was totally accidental. We had friends who expressed an interest in RVing, and that was a rarity because nobody we know has any interest in RVing. They think we're, just trailer trash, living out, homeless people living out here. That's what they think.
Or on the run from the law.
Yeah,
right. Witness protection. And so we were so excited that this other couple we know had interest in RVing that we invited them to come out to spend 10 days with us on the RV. We set up an epic road trip through southern Utah, and we thought, what is the coolest thing we could show somebody? We picked them up in Vegas, stayed at the Las Vegas Motor Coach Resort, then we stayed in Zion National Park, then we did a commercial campground, a couple of Walmart nights. We ran the gamut.
Dry camping out in the desert.
Showed them every aspect.
We gave them every aspect.
And we put them behind the wheel and taught them how to drive on this rig towing our car, and they'd never done it before. And they fell in love with it, and they bought an RV. And coincidentally, they bought a 2005 Newmar, which is what this is. I wonder how that happened. We sold them on the idea of the rig, but then what happened was it led to YouTube. Was they started having a lot questions.
I know you showed me, but how do you dump the tanks, or how do you winterize? And exactly.
And so
we started making videos for them, but we decided instead of just doing it literally where we just put up a private video and send it to them so they could do it, we thought, well, maybe somebody else would find it interesting, so we just put it out as RV Geeks, and
we never thought, we didn't even monetize the channel at first. It was hard to get monetized back then, and even when we were available to do it, I don't think we did it first because we're like, it's no big deal. This isn't going to make any money.
But we really did have fun doing the videos and doing that kind of how-to thing. It's really in our bailiwick to do that, so we just kept doing it.
But I have to say that the expectation that no one is watching leads you to be very casual about it. And I want to apologize to anybody who watches our older videos. It was really me going out with a camera in one hand and a screwdriver in the other, and I would stand up on a ladder and I'd say, okay, if we're going to replace our roof vent on for the plumbing, we're just going to kind of pry away the dicor like this, and then I would
DIY.
It was one hand and no tripod and a lot of cursing,
a lot of takes,
and a lot of editing, and it just became something. And then we felt a little pressure.
Thank you to everybody out there who watches, because otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys right now. We'd probably be in a house somewhere.
We did start feeling a little pressure once we realized people were watching. We thought, we better make these better than we're doing, and that kind of is when the production values went up a little, and we started doing voiceovers, and we bought a tripod.
So I know that we've watched in reference to your DIY videos a lot in our own projects. Specifically the AccuVo video I've watched like 5 times whenever we were installing that.
It's a complicated install.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
a
a lot of pieces involved.
Yeah.
Is there a DIY RV project that you would recommend for new RVers? Like, which project is an easy entryway if someone wants to do a DIY project?
Or maybe just like one of your most popular videos.
I'll give you an example of something that's not a whole video, but it's part of a video. So we did one. We have an Onan quiet diesel generator, and no one has ever touched that but me. I've changed the oil and all the things that go with it, and I kind of learned by watching other videos or reading on forums or asking. Well, there's this thing called a spark arrestor. So this is a really serious issue that people don't know about. They're like, oh, I'll change the oil in my generator, which we show in that video how to do. In the same video, we clean the spark arrestor. And people are like, I didn't know there was such a thing, and the problem is they're risking a fire because they don't know. So in that video, we show you how it's important that every time you change the oil, you clean the spark arrestor. And we even show you like little tricks about how to access it, because it's way up inside. You need a super long socket extension, and just little tricks like that.
Yeah.
So I think those kinds of things, we feel gratified that people say, I didn't even know, and I've had that same model generator you had for 5 years. I never cleaned the spark arrestor, and I could have started a fire.
Well, and it's also a great DIY project, changing the oil in the generator, because A, it's not that hard to do, but B, it saves you a fair amount of money, because you're going to pay for doing it at a service center, and that's something you can do at home or out on the road even.
Yeah.
So.
And one other example of that, and I don't know if you want to mention, is like slide toppers and why that's such a great video.
So replacing the fabric on your slide topper seems like it's a daunting task. You can read a lot about people warning about the spring tension and that you could be in danger. Well, it's really not that hard, and it saves you a ton of money, because not only do you not have to pay the service tech to do it, but you also can pick the fabric, which means you can get better quality fabric than you would if they just replaced what they had already failed.
Yeah.
So that's our favorite DIY project,
our favorite
slide
one,
toppers.
because we got connected with Tough Top Awnings after we purchased our first slide topper from them, and we're like, oh, this is far better than the A&E stuff, and way better than the Carefree of Colorado stuff. And so we realized that people were paying a fortune to get inferior work done, and
you can
they
do
could
it
do it
yourself.
themselves in 20 minutes if someone showed them how.
And that's so valuable, just these little things you've learned through experience that so many people don't know about, or they don't know about until they spend too much money and it's too late.
Right.
And so that's super helpful and valuable, because a lot of us out here on the road are living on a budget and can't afford to run to a service shop for every little thing that breaks, because as we know, RVs tend to break and often, and it can be costly.
Well, it's one of the things that's maybe misunderstood about us. So people see we have a 43-foot motorhome, and it looks brand new. It only looks, even though it's almost 14 years old, it looks new because we take care of it. Yeah, wax on, wax off. But they have this idea that we're rich because we have a big RV and it looks new, when actually one of the reasons we do so much of our own stuff is because we're not rich. We work, we still work, and we earn enough money to get by. We have a big mortgage on it.
Yeah, right. Big RV, big mortgage.
And I'm not crying poverty. We do okay. we work hard and we do okay. But the point is, based on what you were saying, is that we do our own stuff for the same reason many other people do. We can't afford to just go to the shop and pay somebody money when we could save and do it ourselves.
And it's nice that you kind of pull the curtain back and show people that the RV maintenance is not something that you have to take to a dealer. You can dive in and do it yourself with a little bit of self-education, or by watching these videos.
Right, and that's really the biggest thing, is it's daunting to even begin.
Yeah,
sure.
That's the biggest part, is the fear of the unknown.
Well, I think the other side of it, though, is, of course, since all of our videos are DIY and maintenance type videos,
most of them,
a lot of people then end up feeling like, oh, well, all you're ever doing is maintenance on the RV, and that's not true either, right? So I mean,
we're sitting around with our friends far more than we're working on the RV. This is a much better video to make. I like this. We're going to start doing it.
It's a lot more fun, isn't it?
It's better. It shows, actually, this is great, because I'm gratified to be able to sit here and show off what RVing is really like.
Yes.
The only thing missing is we didn't break out the wine yet.
No, we have plans for that later.
We have the bottles over there. We're ready.
So we got to wrap it up here, but as you say, you're not just DIYers. You do a lot of traveling and loving nature and the community. Can you give us one great RV moment before we sign off today? Just something that resonates what RV living is to you.
That's a great question.
That is a good question.
A lot of people ask us, they figure, we've been in 49 of the 50 states, not all of them in our RV, but mostly. They ask, what one place should you go to? They think we've been everywhere, and when it comes to national parks, we actually have the Western National Parks. And we always say, as hard as it is to pick one, everyone should see Yosemite National Park in their lifetimes.
And being able to stay in your RV in the valley to really experience what that's like.
If you can get a reservation in the
Yeah.
valley. But if you can't get a reservation, Crater Lake is a good one,
haven't done that one
and
yet.
Glacier is a good one, and the Canadian Rockies are good. So
Yeah,
we love the West.
I don't think we can distill it down to one moment, because for us it really has been the continuum of just the freedom of being where and when, where we want to be, with who we want to be, how we want to be.
And the community that we
Sums it
talked
up
about
perfectly.
earlier, me being able to come here and see the two of you, and to see Tom and Caitlin here who are working with you.
And
It's
see the
like-
Airstream in
We're-
progress.
And we-
thrilled to have you here.
We came to spend 2 or 3 days. This has been over a week
Yeah, I
now.
know.
We're not leaving
We're a
yet.
little worried they have.
We're sabotaging, slowly airing down their tires. Right?
Yeah, but we got our fire
Keep 'em
compressor
trapped.
here.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice,
Yeah.
that was you.
They've got all the tools, all the things.
But
Yeah.
thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And
It's been fun.
so I want to tell people this really quickly before we go. We have only met these guys once before, 3 years ago.
That's right.
And being here in this time, it was like, just right off the bat, it's like the most easy connection and friendship. And I just, ever since that first meeting, I've always known this is what our friendship would be. It's just that type of relationship and connection, and they are truly as wonderful as they seem. We swear, we cannot get out of here
So
without
are these
4 or
two.
5 hours of laughing and conversation.
We've had a really good time, and I'm so gratified to hear you say that, and because we feel the same way.
Exactly.
We just clicked with you so well. We knew we would come full circle from that one dinner that we had. Like, oh, we're going to connect with you.
Just that our
It took a
travels
while
have been, yeah, right. Our travels
to
have
realize.
Yeah, we kept going the wrong way. No
Well,
more.
Thank y'all again. We'll put all the links below, guys. So if you're not already subscribed, which I'm sure you are, but hit that subscribe button,
Yes.
and we will see y'all next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much. Take care, everybody.